until there is nothing left. I mean, there's even a new technique where the subject skillfully aims the straw at the corners of the battery so that in the end, total emptiness. How do you like it? This is how we make it. American milkshake, the shake that moves. Cocamela, oh, yeah. So fresh that you open it every day. Thinking healthy good for everyone. Introducing Dairy Gold Full Cream Milk from our carefully selected farms to your home. With all the nutrients The Kettle News. The Kettle News. The Kettle News. The Kettle News. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchtime News. Today, the 20th of August, 2024. To present it, I'm Jack Mapembulo. We first take a look at the top stories. High Court stays nominations for Kawambwa Council chairperson. Kamfinsa Member of Parliament calls on the UPND to focus on matters affecting the people. A Mansa resident urges civic leaders to increase community engagement. And Congo hopes to receive first Mpox vaccines by next week. And Buffalo's booted out of the Women's Champions League qualifier.
The Kettle News. If it matters to you, it matters to us.
And now the news in detail. High Court stays nominations for the by-election to fill the position of Kawambwa District Town Council chairperson, initially scheduled for Tuesday, August 20, 2024, have been temporarily aborted. Kawambwa Council chairperson Kalumba Chifumbe has sought judicial intervention to challenge the Electoral Commission of Zambia's decision to declare his seat vacant. The by-election was slated to take place on Wednesday, September 18, 2024. Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission of Zambia announced that the by-elections became necessary following the conviction of Mr. Kalumba Chifumbe, a member of the Patriotic Front, on July 22, 2024. The High Court's decision to stay the nomination means that the electoral process will be paused pending further review the by-election. In a statement, Corporate Affairs Manager Patricia Ruanga said that this is due to a court order issued on August 19, 2024 by the High Court of Zambia in Chinsali District to stay the nomination and by-election. Ms. Luhanga said the nominations will be pending determination of judicial review proceedings. Patriotic Front Kamfinsa Member of Parliament Christopher Kangombe has expressed concern over the performance of the UPND government, stating that it needs to improve in addressing the challenges faced by the Zambian people. Speaking on KFM's Radio Agenda program, Honorable Kangombe highlighted that opposition political parties are currently restricted from holding public rallies, which he views as a sign of diminishing democracy. Honorable Kangombe criticized the government for not adequately addressing pressing issues, including the high price of meal, which he believes contributes to widespread hunger. He also called for a review and resolution of ongoing problems within the energy sector.
2023, political parties are not being allowed to engage the public. If today we notified the police that we want to hold a public rally, those that are recently in, all they have to do is take note today. I think the only people can decide that there's no malice intended. I think that our police in government can do better. In terms of performance now, the legal report, because you see, the legal reports are things that people point to. Okay. The legal report number one, price of minimum. Nuclear research over government, the price of minimum is 130, maximum is 150 in remote areas. We don't expect that the price of minimum will start in less than a year. Today, people are buying minimum 250, in Macondo is 400, in Petauke is 410. I think that in that area, good value has not done well. And these are things that I believe they are about to become aware of. Issues to do with the cost of replacement. Obviously, the power outages, the load shedding, which now is going to reduce to 17 hours, they will not help our economy recover quickly, because for an economy to recover, those that are doing treatment should be able to have energy to support their small businesses, the salons, the barber shops.
A resident of Namwando has called on ward councillors and MPs to make regular visits to their constituencies to address the challenges facing local communities. Derek Musenge expressed concern that civic leaders only visit their wards during election campaigns, which he finds unacceptable. He believes that many issues could be resolved if leaders engaged more frequently with their constituents to understand and address their concerns. Musenge emphasized that voters will be more discerning in the upcoming general elections, seeking leaders who demonstrate genuine commitment and passion for serving their communities. He warned that those who only show up during campaign periods will face strong resistance, as the electorate is increasingly frustrated with leaders who fail to deliver on their promises.
Mwambie kukumanya kwamba constituency yenu kama wadi yenu before ama election twapapata ama election hiyo ya raisa ikero mukatapyo kuita ukabona kwati vitu vyako sababu afikatira paka so tulepo aya mwambie uko idauka munchende monte bote mukumaje kwa abantu bwaipusha kubwe bantu bakwaleza tishike kulepo ayo kwati pake kokute byoko buri tishike shotere ko tishike le kigurire ko uko kirate buri abushuka bwaize ukabwira ati bwareka ko kutuzeni baka bari kutubeka ukwai tulepo akorekeze tishike kulecho kikalala kera kubeka shi Yesu tulepo ile pesa kupende boti dijira kutwa kwa mari kubombera tireboneka umujojo kuri kodokwa bako kuri abachala mu kuzistimu abantu tulepo abatu kubanye ko bare tukubanya ko turelanda kwese turendishanja ko tishike kure kishe tuburishe mukipatala koko kubabate ti turipi tukisara baragurushega abantu bakwita ngambye baba batapo kubombera ko babote tuburishe kwa kwataranga imwe.
A resident of Kapiata area is calling on the government to construct a bore as the community faces significant challenges in accessing clean and safe water. According to Mr. Champo, Kapiata area is surrounded by several villages, including Karukuluku, Shtembo, Poroto, Shuairirwa, and Kapiata itself, all of which are struggling with inadequate access to clean water, and residents are currently forced to bring contaminated water from a small, unreliable river, which they also use for washing. Mr. Champo warns that with the arrival of September and October, the continued consumption of this contaminated water could lead to outbreak of diseases such as diarrhea and other waterborne illnesses. He emphasizes the urgent need for government intervention to provide a bore that would ensure access to clean and safe water for the people of Kapiata.
tunazingatia mfano wa nchi wa kinalondolare kwa mkati wa papa tukana watu wa Mungu ushimile wengi kwa kingine kwa mako kwa ukapyaka ndio nchi na tete ya shimu kwa mako.
$100 million US contract was awarded by government to shell companies and individuals with links to prominent influential persons to design, rehabilitate, and build government structures across the country, the Financial Intelligence Center FIC report revealed in its latest suspected public sector corruption analysis. The FIC report has exposed grand abuse of office and procurement exploitation by government officials and their financially influential friends. The FIC observed a continuing trend of companies and individuals linked to prominent influential persons being awarded fraudulent but big procurement contracts. This is contained in the latest FIC report for the last quarter of 2023. The state has thrown in the towel and dropped the aggravated robbery case against Shedrick Kasanda, accused of stealing $5 million from Egyptian businessman Michael Adel Botros at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport last year. The case, linked to the gold scam scandal, has been marred by the state's failure to produce Egyptian witnesses, leading Justice Chilombo Maka to order the closure of the case. Although Kasanda is off the hook for now, the state can still rearrest him if new evidence emerges. The decision marks a stunning defeat for the state, which had insisted it had a strong case despite struggling to produce witnesses. In a last-ditch effort, Deputy State Advocate Richard Masempela requested a further adjournment, but Justice Maka refused, paving the way for the state's dramatic surrender. Kasanda's legal team included former Solicitor General Abraham Mwansa, Timothy Sapato, James Kayula, Nkula Botha, Clement Andeleki, Pochola, and Mutakela Lisimba. Fiani International Zambia has questioned the effectiveness of the current drought response strategies in the country following reports of rising malnutrition among children in drought-affected regions. Recently, the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, revealed that 252 children have been treated for acute malnutrition and 678 have been managed for moderate acute malnutrition from over 142,000 children that were screened for malnutrition in drought-affected areas. In an interview with Phoenix News, Country Director Vladimir Chilinya has criticized the current drought response efforts, stating that the alarming malnutrition figures highlight significant gaps in addressing food security and nutrition needs in vulnerable communities. Mr. Chilinya says since the response has not adequately mitigated the adverse effects of drought on the most affected populations, particularly children, there is need for a thorough review of the drought response strategy. He is urging government to prioritize long-term solutions that address the root causes of food insecurity and ensure sustainable access to nutrition for all through a coordinated approach that includes community involvement, improved resource allocation, and stronger monitoring mechanisms to prevent such high levels of child malnutrition in the country. Before we take a look on the international news, a recap on the top stories. High Court stays nominations for Kawamba Council Chairperson. Kamfisa Member of Parliament calls on the UPND to focus on matters affecting the people. A Mansa resident urges civic leaders to increase community engagement. Coming up, Congo hopes to receive first Mpox vaccines by next week. And in sports, Buffaloes booted out of the Women's Champions League qualifier.
If it matters to you, it matters to us.
Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, hopes to receive its first doses of an Mpox vaccine by next week, following promises from the United States and Japan to help it fight its outbreak, the Congolese health minister said on Monday. The World Health Organization last week declared Mpox a global public health emergency for the second time in 2 years as a new variant of the disease known as Clade IB spread rapidly in Africa. In a news conference on Monday, Health Minister Samuel Roger Kamba Mulamba said that Japan and the United States had pledged vaccines to Congo. The arrival would help to address a huge inequity that left African countries with no access to the two shots used in a 2022 global Mpox outbreak, while the vaccines were widely available in Europe and the United States. Earlier on Monday, Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor and Welfare said in an email statement to Reuters that it was preparing to provide Congo with supplies of mpox vaccines and needles in cooperation with the World Health Organization and other partners. And now Kenya's top court on Tuesday suspended the lower court's ruling that the 2023 finance law was unconstitutional, saying it was important to preserve stability in the budget until the merits of the government's appeal are heard next month. The finance bill presented to Parliament at the start of every financial year are the main vehicle for the government to set out its revenue-raising measures, including tax hikes. The Court of Appeal's judgment late last month that last year's Finance Act was unconstitutional was a blow to the government of President William Ruto, who withdrew this year's finance bill in June in the face of youth-led protest, the biggest challenge of his two-year presidency. Ruto has been caught between the competing demands of Kenya's hard-pressed citizens and of lenders such as the International Monetary Fund. He has argued that tax increases are necessary to help fund development programs and pay off a heavy public debt load. The Supreme Court will hold hearings on September 10 and 11 on whether the 2023 law is constitutional. Senegal has set up a commission of legal, tax, and energy sector experts to review its oil gas contracts and work to rebalance them in the national interest, Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko said on national television Monday. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who defeated the ruling coalition candidate in landslide victory in March, ordered an audit of the oil, gas, and mining sectors after coming into office and vowed to renegotiate the terms of contracts with foreign operators in the country if needed. Authorities have not shared details on the audit or updates or any renegotiation plans. Sonko said they were committed to their promise to the Senegalese people to come back to their various agreements, to re-examine them and work to rebalance them, obviously in the national interest. End of quote. He said the commission will have sufficient resources to look into the contracts and hire experts from abroad if necessary. He did not say how long the review would take. And now in sports, Green Buffaloes have bowed out of the 2024 CAF Women's Champions League COSAFA qualifiers. Following their 2-1 defeat against Namibia champions Ongos, Buffaloes still had a slim chance of advancing to the semi-finals, but unfortunately that depended on other results in the Group B between South Africa's University of Western Cape and the Herentals Queens of Zimbabwe. University of Western Cape's 2-1 beat Herentals Queens as the two sides finished on 6 points, while Karo Kanyemba's only had 3 points. It is the worst ever record for the Zambian champions at COSAFA, having lost 2 defeats. Green Buffaloes reached the semi-finals in 2021 and 2023. In 2022, Charles Alubono guided them to the title. We now come to the end of this news bulletin, but before I run a recap on the top stories, High Court stays nominations for Kawambwa Council chairperson. Convince Member of Parliament calls on the UPND to focus on matters affecting the people. A Mansa resident urges civic leaders to increase community engagement. Congo hopes to receive first mpox vaccines by next week. And Buffaloes booted out of the Women's Champions League qualifier. Ends the news at 13 hours. Join us for another bulletin coming up this evening at 18:15. On behalf of the KFM News crew, I'm Jack Mapembolo. Keep listening to K.